Business case in that vision. 47,000 new jobs, innovative jobs. $3 billion a year savings for the city on using this technology and the citizens within the city. The ability in a country that has well over 20% unemployment to have a surplus in the budget to where they put $500 billion back a year into infrastructure for their citizens. The ability to combine not individual elements such as smart buildings, or traffic, or pollution, or parking, or waste management, or telepresence for your jobs. The ability to combine all this together to get $3 billion. That is outcome-based selling, and it's about earning the trust of our joint partner, and never better than that. But they did this around the architectures. Most people look at smart, quote, cities, they think of it silos. You only get the efficiency when you go across each of these silos. And realize behind what I just described were 10 architectural plays. Within those architectural plays, 3 to 5 internal product developments, 2 to 3 acquisition developments, integrated together with much lower cost of ownership and speed to market. Why is there no major smart city in the world other than what we build with our partners in the world? Architectures. This is the window where the inflection point now occurs. If you've got customers that want to see this, bring the mayor of your city and their team to Barcelona. They will share with them what is possible, they'll show how they did it, and they will say, it's only Cisco with the partners can make it happen. That's a lighthouse account. You have to do the same thing in manufacturing, in each vertical. And that's what we're going to do as a company as we move forward. It's taking elements of this and being able to talk specifically about each one in ways that government and business leaders understand. So smart lighting sounds simple. $13 billion a year spent in Europe on energy bills, of which 40% of those government expenditures are on streetlights. Smart lighting, you can first change to where you can probably cut the cost between 50 and 85%. Then once you do smart lighting, i.e. the electricity over the internet, you can put any hotspot connection you want. You could basically do this for underserved communities. You could make a Wi-Fi capability. You could light up the whole city. You could even use these as charging plugs for your citizens. But it's how you tie this together. I made the mistake of getting on stage in Las Vegas at CES, and we took a little bit of risk at that, including having a comedian that I was scared to death what she was going to say all the session. And she got me pretty good. But I talked about waste management. I said, who would ever think at the Consumer Electronics Show, when a year ago you didn't want to talk about the Internet of Things or everything, I'd be talking about smart garbage cans. $10 billion industry. But the point that I'm about to show you is every one of your customers, regardless of private sector or public sector, has applicability for these type of smart architectures today. So I'm going to invite Jim Grubb up on the stage. And we're going to talk about, Jim, how do we bring these concepts to life? How do you make a skill so that even a smart garbage can is big business and going to be very good for each of us in this room?
Okay, John. Well, we'll go ahead and do that. And we brought a few smart garbage cans with us.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at how even a waste management company is becoming a technology company. You know, this technology is going to affect every business as we begin to put these new low-cost sensors on every device that exists. So let's take a look over here, John.
So key takeaway, every company, every government becoming a technology company, a digital company, a smart company, in the way that ties each elements together. And it isn't just about the smart, quote, garbage cans. It's about how does this change your collections, your use of your assets, your productivity, your customer satisfaction, and even safety capabilities.
That's right. It's about both cost savings and new experiences for customers.
Yes.
So we're looking at the dashboard here for the waste management company. We like to call this the trash board, actually. And we can see what's happening in our waste management operations.
Okay.
And we can
so this is a typical dashboard for any industry.
That's
Here
right.
are the top metrics as they follow.
That's right, exactly. It's giving me real-time data. I can see what's happening with my vehicles, for example. I can take a look at notifications. I see that I've got A couple of notifications, a vehicle with extra space in it today. I've got an urgent pickup needed. So we're going pay as you throw, a new business model for rubbish.
I like that. That's a good. You get pretty clever. You can also see where the maintenance is on the vehicle. If it's about to have a problem, you can replace it, etc.
Exactly. Here's a bin sensor that needs to be replaced. And we can even drill in deeper. We can take a look at some of those alerts that are coming from a neighborhood. We can click on them. Here's a particular customer that's almost full, so we may want to schedule a pickup for that particular customer. Here's the high school. It looks like they're having a little sensor problem in the bin in the high school. So we're getting an overall view of optimizing our entire infrastructure.
But again, it's getting the right information at the right time to the right device, so the right person or machine can make the right decision. It sounds simple, but it's complex and implemented.
So let's take a use case of optimizing the truck. So we have truck 17 here that's near capacity, but truck 2 is almost empty. So I'm going to go in, we'll take a look at the route for truck 2. We can see what the current route is scheduled for that truck. And then we could actually try to manually reroute it. So let me just go ahead and do that. Looks like we're still over capacity. But this is where, I want to be able to take advantage of application-centric, high-value workloads.
And this is where a lot of decisions will be made remotely, rather than having to go back to a data center or for human intervention.
That's right.
We'll just automate this every time.
That's right. So in this case, I'm going to use an auto reroute functionality. And this gives us the ability to bring in application-centric technologies like SAP HANA, where we can do high-speed number crunching on. We might want to have analytics coming from the traffic flows, from the vehicles, from the trucks, from the sensors in the cans themselves. And then this allows me then to optimize the route for that truck, so we can see this new optimized route. Now this is what the dispatcher might see back at headquarters. In the trucks themselves, we step over here, John, we can see we have a tablet device, and here the driver is getting a map that's giving them turn-by-turn directions that can be updated in real time. As a matter of fact, because of that update that we just saw, we're seeing we have an update. It looks like we're going to go from about 60% to almost full, so we'll go ahead and confirm that route as a driver. And then it's going to draw the new route for me, update my turn-by-turn directions, give me all the additional pertinent information, even things like I'm going to be dropping off at a new facility because I'm actually having more green waste, for example. So optimizing all of that for the driver, putting that, as you talked about, the fog capability, moving the compute all the way down into the networking device of the truck so that we can process that data and just send back the bits that we need to send back. Now this is the
Now you're talking
driver.
probably about somewhere between 25 and 40% improvement in asset utilization.
That's right.
You're talking about dramatically less carbon emissions because you're not going to be putting out this to the world as often. You're talking, if done right, higher customer satisfaction. You can even look at the sensors inside the garbage can to know if there were unique odors that caused you to pick it up earlier.
Absolutely.
Or, heaven forbid, a signal that might be an explosive issue that needs to be dealt with.
Physical security as well.
Yes.
Now let's show you the customer experience. And for the customer, now that we're going to trash on demand here, we need a way to notify the customer, for example, that their pickup is, that we're going to be picking them up. So I never remember to get my cans out on Wednesdays, so this now sends me a message. But it also shows me statistics on how I'm doing with recycling over time. I can look at my yearly statistics. Looks like I'm getting a little bit better. I'm still only recycling 27%, so probably got a ways to go here. But I notice I get this trash pickup alert, so I can see that I'm going to confirm that I'm going to put my cans out tomorrow. And then, once companies roll out this technology, once they do become technology companies, they have the opportunity to innovate on an ongoing basis. So here's a new promotion. So for the waste management business, green trash, that recyclable is a lot more profitable. Yeah, so what they put on a challenge here for the neighbors to compete with each other.
So you're talking about social networks, you're creating competition in a way that you get extra profits.
That's right. So now I'm going to go ahead and opt into that. And now I can see how I'm doing in recycling compared to my neighbors. And I can see my neighbors are way ahead of me here. So I'm probably not going to win this week, but
I think I was the neighbor that don't move that down for you.
We're doing a lot of recycling. That's good, Chuck. Okay. All right. So, all right. If we could step back over here, because if we want to roll out applications like this, and we want to have the speed of that automation and orchestration and programmability gives us, and then we want to do that with these high-value workloads. We want to make that as easy as possible for the IT organization to be able to do
So
that.
you know where we're headed. Every IT organization in the world, as these companies become technology companies or cities become digital cities, are going to have this similar type of issues. We use the example of waste management because it was the most challenging to really say the business case, and you realize how powerful the business case is. That's what's going to occur in every industry. You could go to any mining site in the world, and one of our partners gave me the data on this. There's a large mining site in Australia where basically they receive data from 10,000 sensor inputs per second. How do you make decisions off of that to keep the maintenance on the trucks going right so you don't have a failure that shuts down a part of the facilities for a period of time, just like a shop floor, and cost them a huge amount of their profits? So again, every industry has these similar characteristics we're talking about, Joe.
Yeah,
I highly encourage you to take waste management because when you told me you were going to do this, I thought, oh.
A trash demo. All right.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, let's take a look here. We can see that our app response time, maybe we have a lot of people decide they wanted to compete on that recycling challenge. And the app response time is slowed a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and resolve this. And I'm going to go into Unified Management where I have pre-configured templates that allow me from a services catalog to roll out additional IT capabilities effectively. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose an intercloud type of.
So you're basically able to move your workloads transparently from one cloud to another.
That's right.
Only Cisco does that independent of any hypervisor or anything else.
That's right. What we announced today. So and then I can choose for example, if I wanted to be a Cisco-powered cloud, I can choose an Amazon cloud, a Microsoft Azure cloud, or I can even put it on a private cloud within my private data center.
So it's all about consumer choice, customer choice completely. And probably if it's high priority where you need security, it's a really value application like video, etc.,
Right.
we would choose
We'll choose the Cisco power
with our partners.
Sure. And then I'll go ahead and click on Next and Submit. And what I've now done is created a new request for an entire stack of compute, storage, network to be deployed.
Yes.
And that we can even check on the progress here. We can see it's in the progress of provisioning. So once that's up and running, then I can then go in, once it's all provisioned and we've got the entire capability running, I can go back to my waste management application and I can see that my response time now has dropped considerably for the consumer, making a great customer experience. Now, the last thing that I wanted to show you here, John, was security, because as we begin to connect the unconnected, we're going to have a much larger surface attack area for hackers and for security. We already know we have privacy issues. We're going to have to protect that data. We have to know what's going on in the network to be able to do that.
And it's just in the network. You can only defend with the network central mentality. You've got to be able to do it across multiple clouds, hybrid clouds, public clouds, private clouds. You've got to be able to bring together a bunch of networks together from a whole bunch of different devices. And you're going to have intelligence in every node and architecture really to have effective security long term.
And that's where you just showed the slide of one of our acquisitions of SourceFire.
Yes.
SourceFire, the cool thing about SourceFire is it gives you complete visibility into everything that's happening on your network. It even creates a fingerprint of your existing network, so new things that pop up you can see. So I'm looking at the Defense Center dashboard here. I can see intrusion events. I can see them based on country. I can see them on type of event, type of user, type of application, giving me this high-level visibility. But then I can drill down in on specific events. The software has intelligence to prioritize the ones that are at the highest level of priority that need to be addressed first. It automatically can program to drop this traffic, for example, and I can drill down and get a tremendous amount of detail about this attack, all the way down to frame by frame. I can even open up the packet. We can see this was a Stack Overflow type attack. But the point is, this is the kind of technology that gives you that assurance that you're going to be able to keep your customers' data private, keep the malware and the bad things off the network, and solve the security problem for us.
So it's really what Buddy Roach brought up with SourceFire, but what Chris Young has done by internal innovation, partnering acquisitions, and do it in a way that as networks will become self-learning over time. Hold that concept to a year from now. But the ability to learn as you go and learn at the edge and the central part and at the data center at the core is a key advantage for the future in terms of Cisco's uniqueness.
That's right. Now, John, you talked about architectures. I just brought a diagram over here. We can take a look at it. to show all of the different architectures that we incorporated.
So this talks about how fast you can move to get the applications up, and if it's an application-driven economy with flexibility, and you're really talking about speed with much lower operating expenses to get there.
That's right. If you could just back up one click for me, please. So we saw the fog sensors. This is about moving compute all the way down and close to the data. We saw the concept of identity across our mobile devices, our fixed devices, and across our entire architecture, including policy. We saw mobility, being able to bring this data to any device in any location on any network for the users, for the drivers, for the trucks. We saw application-centric data center. So this is where we use our APIC controllers to be able to automatically deploy and provision new services, establish policy. And by the way, that doesn't just include the automation that we get in the data center, it also includes the automation for WAN and access and provisioning the wide area components and the access and the security components in there. And finally, the intercloud capability, the ability to move these workloads on and off-prem between private and public cloud and have that flexibility that gives you the agility that you need to deploy these new kinds of applications. And of course, to do that in a secure way. So security crosses all of this. And John, you know, what's really important here is that it is all of these architectures that are working together that allow us together to solve problems for our customers and make every company a technology company, including one like a trash company.
Jim, well done. I didn't think you could pull that off. You told me it's going to be the demo. I was worried. Great job.